Jack was just an engineer, a human from Earth, working far away on a peaceful alien planet called Veralia. The people here were different, tall, silver-skinned, with glowing eyes. They spoke softly, moved gracefully, and followed very strict traditions. Jack didn't understand most of them. He only came here to help fix their energy systems. The royal building was large, glowing with blue lights. Jack wiped the sweat from his forehead and crawled deeper into a metal tunnel. Something was wrong with the main power line. He followed the humming sound, holding a small flashlight and a toolkit. Suddenly, a loud click echoed behind him. Wall beside him shifted open. Jack froze. A hidden door? He had never seen it on the map. He stepped through without thinking. Maybe it was a shortcut. Maybe it was the control room. But what he saw inside changed everything. The room was filled with soft steam. White light floated in the air. And there, in the center, standing near a glowing pool, was a Verelian woman. Her back was turned. Her long silver hair flowed down to her waist. She wore a thin robe. And in that moment, she turned. Her glowing violet eyes locked with Jack's. He gasped. She screamed, "Intruder!" She shouted. Jack stumbled backward, dropping his flashlight. "I am sorry. I didn't mean." Before he could finish, 4 guards stormed in through the main door. They pointed long silver weapons at him. "Down on your knees, human!" One guard yelled. Jack raised his hands, confused and scared. "I didn't know she was there. I didn't mean to see anything." The woman stepped forward now, holding her robe tightly. "You've seen me unclothed," she whispered, her face pale. "You've seen me before the moonlight." Jack blinked. "What? I don't even know what that means." One of the guards looked shocked. "My lady, is this true?" She nodded slowly. "He has broken the sacred code. The ritual was in progress." The guards grabbed Jack roughly and pulled him to his feet. "Wait!" Jack shouted. "It was an accident." But no one listened. The woman looked at him again. Her voice trembled. "Human, you do not understand, because you have seen me in this sacred state. The law says we must marry." Jack's mouth opened. "Excuse me. If we don't," she said quietly, "the council will think I have been dishonored. And for that, they will kill us both." They took him to a small room with high crystal walls. Jayla, the alien woman, entered alone after a while. "I didn't mean to," Jack said again. "It was just a mistake." Jayla looked at him. Her face was calm, but her hands were shaking. "Mistake or not, Verelian law is clear. If someone sees a royal maiden during the sacred ritual, it means one thing: he has chosen her as a life bond partner." Jack stood up, angry now. "That's crazy. I didn't choose anything." "You entered the private chamber." "It was an accident." She sat down across from him. "If we don't bond through ritual marriage, they will punish me for dishonor. And they will execute you as a violator of the temple." Jack ran his hands through his hair. "This is insane." Jayla looked away. "I agree. But it is the law of this world." A deep bell rang outside. Jack looked toward the window. A large group of elders walked toward the palace. Jayla stood. "The High Council has arrived. They will expect your answer." "My answer?" Jack stepped back. "You mean I have to agree to this?" "Yes," she said, "or you die, and so do I." Jack stared at her. She looked young, but ancient at the same time. Proud and graceful, and she didn't seem like a liar. She seemed trapped. "I don't even know your name." He said. "Jayla," she replied. "First daughter of House Lurex, keeper of the White Flame." Jack gave a weak laugh. "I'm Jack, engineer. Fixes broken pipes." Jayla smiled for the first time. The door opened. A guard entered. "It is time." Jayla stood tall. "Make your choice, Jack of Earth." Jack looked at her, then at the door. He Had no idea what would happen next, but if she was right. The moment he saw her in that room, his life had changed forever. Asterisk, the sound of drums echoed through the palace walls. Jack sat alone in a silent chamber. The walls were smooth crystal. The floor glowed beneath his boots. He had no idea where he was or what was about to happen. A golden door slid open. Gila stepped in, wearing a royal cloak of silver feathers. Her face was calm, too calm, like someone who had already made peace with her death. Jack stood up. Fast. Look, I still don't get it. Why can't I just say sorry and leave? Gila looked him in the eyes. Because this isn't Earth. Here, intent doesn't matter. Action does. Jack frowned. So I'm going to be executed just for walking into the wrong room? Gila's voice was soft but steady. No, not if we bond. A ritual marriage. Fast, silent, no questions, just say yes. And we live. Jack laughed nervously. I just met you yesterday. She stepped closer. And I just lost my entire future. Jack sat back down, shaking his head. What even is a bond? What does it mean? Gila took a deep breath. It's not like your human weddings. Our bond is sacred. Once sealed, our life threads will be linked. If one of us dies, the other feels it. Jack's face turned pale. You're saying I get married, and if something happens to you, I feel it too. She nodded. Yes, it is the only way the council will forgive what they believe you've done. But it was an accident. Jack said again. And the law doesn't care, Gila replied. Suddenly, 3 guards entered. Behind them, a tall alien woman with glowing green robes walked in. Her voice was cold. The council awaits. The punishment for this dishonor is clear. Death by fire. Unless the human accepts the bonding. Gila didn't even blink. Give us a moment. The woman narrowed her eyes, then left. Jack turned to Gila. I don't want to die. But I can't fake a marriage either. I don't even know what your people expect. Gila sat beside him. Her voice turned low. Listen, this isn't about love. It's about survival. You and I, we don't have to act like soulmates. We just need to fool the council. After a few days, we'll escape. There are ways to break the bond later. Jack looked into her glowing violet eyes. For the first time, he saw something else behind them. Fear. She wasn't just trying to save him. She was trying to save herself too. The bell rang again. Louder this time. Gila stood. It's time. Jack sighed. You really think this will work? Gila gave a weak smile. No, but it's the only path that doesn't end with us dead. The ceremony room was filled with highborns and elders. Everyone stood in silence. Jack walked beside Gila, feeling 1,000 alien eyes on him. A priest raised a glowing orb between them. He spoke in a strange language, then turned to Gila. Do you accept this human as your bonded mate, under the law of light? Gila replied without hesitation. Yes. The priest turned to Jack. Do you, Jack of Earth, accept Gila as your bonded partner under Varelian law? Jack looked at her. She didn't beg, she didn't cry, she just waited. Yes, he finally said. The orb glowed brightly. But then, something unexpected happened. The orb cracked. A sudden pulse of light shot through the room. Gila gasped. Jack fell to his knees. The priest looked horrified. The bond, it's not fake. It's real, fully sealed. Gila turned to Jack in panic. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. The bond had sealed, but no one smiled, not Gila, not even the High Elder, who had blessed the ritual. The light had exploded from their hands like a small star. The crowd had gasped. The flame had turned white, not blue. No one knew what that meant, except maybe the stars. After the ceremony, Jack was taken to a quiet chamber beneath the palace. The walls hummed softly, almost like they were breathing. He sat on a round platform as silver energy scanned his body. A machine whispered something in the alien language. A nurse nodded and left silently. Jack rubbed his face. I just got married. To an alien, and now I'm being scanned like a lab rat. He looked around. Why do I feel like this is only the beginning? Up above, Jyla stood before the council. The elders surrounded her, their robes long and glowing. They watched her not with joy but with fear. One of them finally spoke. The bond was unstable, unpredictable, too much energy. It wasn't normal. Jyla kept her voice calm. The flame chose to bind. The human did not force me. Still, another elder said, his presence altered the ritual. You know what that could mean. Jayla's hand gripped the edge of her robe. I know, she said, but the truth was, she didn't. That night, Jack and Jyla were placed in a shared chamber royal. Tradition. It was quiet. Too quiet. Jyla sat near the window, staring out at the twin moons. Her silver hair glowed under their light. Jack stood awkwardly near the bed, unsure of what to say, so he finally said, Do we, sleep head to toe? Or divide? The bed with a pillow wall? Jayla didn't laugh. She didn't even look at him. Instead, she said, You felt it too, didn't you? Jack nodded slowly. Yeah, something pulled inside my chest, like a second heartbeat. She turned to face him. The bond isn't just spiritual. It's physical, energetic. If we stay connected too long, it could change us. Jack raised an eyebrow. Change how? Jyla didn't answer. She didn't need to, because right then, the room pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Suddenly, Jack winced. He grabbed his chest. What the? Jyla ran to him. It's beginning. The bond is stabilizing. Jack sank to the floor. His veins shimmered faintly under his skin, glowing pale white. Jyla touched his arm. Her fingers sparked. Not just light. Memory. Images flashed in her mind. Jack as a child. Earth cities, laughter, pain, cold metal tools. His first time flying through space. Zhyla gasped and pulled back. What? What did you see? Jack asked. My mind touched yours, she whispered. It shouldn't be possible this early. Jack's hands trembled. And I saw something too. A temple. Fire. You crying in front of a tree made of light. They stared at each other. What is this bond? He whispered. I don't know, she said. But it's not normal. Later, while the palace slept, two shadowed figures stood atop the tower. One was a priest. The other was a royal advisor. The bond was too strong, one of them hissed. We must report this to the circle, the other nodded. If the human unlocked her inner flame, then she is no longer safe. And neither is he. They turned into the shadows. Back in the chamber, Jack lay awake, eyes wide open. Jyla sat beside him. Back against the wall. No words. Just silence. Just tension. Just change. The city of Lurexvel looked beautiful from the skies. Tall towers shimmered like glass. The streets glowed with soft blue light. To outsiders, it looked like peace, but Jyla knew better. Peace in Veralia was a costume, something worn in front of visitors and removed in secret halls. Tonight, the city had a new rule. Find the bonded human, dead or alive. Jyla stormed into the hidden library beneath the palace, her cloak soaked from the rain. A servant, an old woman named Rani, waited there, holding a glowing tablet. They've issued a silent order, Rani whispered. They want the human gone. They fear the bond. Jyla's voice cracked. They fear me now. Rani looked at her with pity. Child, they always did. Meanwhile, Jack was pacing across the royal chamber floor, trying not to panic. The bond was still pulsing in his chest. It felt like electricity humming under his skin. He couldn't sleep. Couldn't sit still. Couldn't stop thinking about the moment their minds had touched. He knew things about Jyla now, her loneliness, her dreams, her broken trust in her own people. And she She had seen pieces of him too. He didn't know if he liked that. Gila returned, out of breath. "They're coming," she said. Jack froze. "Who's coming? The council, maybe the royal guards. Maybe worse." Jack grabbed his jacket. "Okay, plan?" She tossed him a small glowing device. "We're escaping, tonight." Jack blinked. "Wait, what?" "You married into the royal house," Gila said with a bitter smile. "That means you now qualify for royal exile, if you flee before dawn. The law can't touch you." Jack narrowed his eyes. "And you?" "I'm coming with you." 20 minutes later, they were in the under-palace tunnels, running through cold stone corridors. Ronnie guided them to a broken door. "This leads to the old hover bay," she said. "The guards never check it." Gila hugged her quickly. "Thank you," Rainey smiled. "Don't thank me, just don't die." The hovercart looked ancient. Jack groaned. "This thing fly?" "It better," Gila said, jumping into the front seat. He fired the controls. The ship sputtered, sparked, then shot into the air like a bullet. Alarms blared behind them. From the palace tower, a tall shadow watched their ship disappear into the clouds. A red glow blinked on his wrist device. Tracker locked. High above the city, the storm opened like a mouth. Lightning cracked across the sky. Inside the hovercart, Jack gripped the controls. "Next time we take the stairs." Gila checked the map. "There's an abandoned forest base near the Flame River. We'll hide there." "And after that?" She didn't answer. Jack looked at her. "They're trying to kill me because I saw you naked." "Do you know how insane that sounds?" Gila turned slowly. "They're not trying to kill you because of that. Not anymore." "Then why?" "Because of what you unlocked in me." Suddenly, bam! A blast hit their ship from behind. Jack spun the controls. "We've got company." A black hovercraft appeared behind them. Sleek, fast, armed. Gila cursed under her breath. "A blood hunter." "Wait a what?" "Assassin class." "They don't ask questions." "Wonderful." The forest came into view. Thick, dark, alive. Gila pointed. "Fly low, into the trees." Jack dove the ship just in time. Laser blasts fired over their heads. They skidded across wet leaves, crashing through branches, sparks flying. The hovercart slammed into a clearing and stopped with a final hiss. "Smoke." "Silence." Jack coughed. "Still alive?" Gila groaned. "Barely." She grabbed a small glowing shard from her belt. "What's that?" Jack asked. "A beacon. If we don't make it, someone will know we tried." Suddenly, branches moved. The hunter landed in the clearing, tall, armored, helmeted, armed with a plasma blade. Jack reached for a broken panel of metal. Gila stepped in front of him. "You want the human?" She shouted. "You'll go through me." The hunter stepped forward. So did Gila. Her hands began to glow, white light. Hot and rising. The same light from the bonding flame. Jack whispered, "Gila, what are you doing?" Her voice was calm. "Protecting what's mine." Jack woke up to silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong, too still, too heavy. He was lying on the damp forest floor, the air thick with fog. His clothes were torn, his chest hurt, and his left hand was glowing faintly. Again, he sat up. "Fast, Gila," he called out, voice raw. "Gila." No answer. His heart jumped. He scrambled to his feet. The crash. The blood hunter. The light. Everything came rushing back. Not far away, Gila sat against a tree, eyes half shut, her body trembling. Steam rose from her hands. The grass around her was scorched. She had stopped the hunter, but it had cost her. Something inside her was changing. Something old. Something powerful. And it was waking up. Jack found her just in time. "Gila." He dropped beside her. "What happened?" She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "It's the bond, the energy. It's inside me now. And it's not stable." Jack checked her pulse. It was too fast. Her skin was hot like fire. "We need help," he said. "You're burning up." She shook her head. "No med drone will fix this. It's not an injury. It's transformation." They moved slowly through the forest, deeper into shadows where even moonlight dared not go. The trees were massive, twisting like serpents, their roots glowing with pale green veins. Strange creatures watched from the branches. The air buzzed with hidden whispers. Jyla walked with Jack's help, her legs weak, her voice quiet. "There's an old place," she said. "A shrine. From before the city, before the laws." Jack raised an eyebrow. "A magic temple in the woods?" "Seriously?" Jyla gave a tired smile. "You married a royal mystic, remember? This is the part where the myths get real." Hours later, they found it. A stone circle hidden beneath vines, pulsing with ancient light. In the center, a floating crystal shaped like a teardrop. Jyla collapsed before it. Jack caught her. "What is this place?" he asked. She whispered, "The flame root, the heart of Virelia's spirit. The bond started here, long ago." Jack looked around. "So, what do we do? Pray?" Jyla didn't answer. Her eyes were glowing. Her hands lifted without control. The bond reacted. The crystal spun. Wind rose from the earth. Then ZHYLA screamed. Light exploded from her chest. Her body rose into the air. Jack reached for her, but a force knocked him back. The forest lit up with fire and wind. Jack shouted, "Jyla!" Then silence. Her body fell. He ran and caught her just before she hit the ground. Her breathing was shallow. Her skin shimmered with strange patterns. Her eyes opened, but they were no longer violet. They were white. Jyla sat up slowly. Her voice was calm, too calm. "I saw them," she said. "The ones who built this world. The ones who created the bond." Jack stared. "You what?" "They were not like us," she continued. "They made the bond to unite minds, not control hearts. But my people twisted it. Now it's waking again. And it chose us." Jack leaned back. "That's a lot to process." Jyla looked at him. "You and I are not just bonded anymore," she said. "We're connected to something older. Something powerful. And that power," she touched her chest, "is changing me." Night fell. They built a small fire beside the shrine. Jack sat quietly, carving shapes into the dirt with a stick. Jyla rested with her back against the stone, still glowing faintly. Neither of them spoke for a while. Then Jack finally asked, "Do you regret it?" She looked at him. "The bond?" He nodded. She shook her head. "No, I regret the life I lived before it." A long pause. Then she whispered, "I was alone in a palace. Now I'm alone in a forest. But at least now, someone is beside me." Jack smiled faintly. "Same. But peace wouldn't last long." Deep in the woods, something ancient opened its eyes. It had felt the bond. It had smelled the flame. And now it was coming for them both. The sun didn't rise in the deep forest. Not in this part. Here. The trees were too tall, the air too heavy, and the light too afraid to enter. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat by the fire, watching Jyla breathe slow, calm, glowing. She didn't move, didn't speak, but her body pulsed with soft white light, as if her heartbeat had become part of the forest itself. And the forest was listening. At dawn, the wind changed. Something unseen moved through the trees. Not animals, not guards, something older. Jack felt it before he heard it. A hum, low, cold, alive. He stood and backed toward Jyla. "Wake up, now." Jyla's eyes opened, still glowing white. She looked toward the trees. "It found us," she whispered. "What did?" Jack asked. Jyla stood slowly, her body steady now, different. "The guardian of the flame root." Branches snapped. The ground shook. Then it stepped into the clearing. A creature part shadow, part stone, taller than the trees. Its Eyes burned like dying suns. Ancient armor covered its chest, marked with symbols neither of them could read. It didn't speak, it didn't need to. Jayla bowed her head. The forest tests those who awaken the bond. It wants to know if we are worthy. Jack raised his hands. Hey, big guy, maybe we just skip the test. Maybe we. The Guardian struck the ground with its massive arm. Wind exploded in every direction. Jack flew backward into the mud. Jayla stood her ground. The Guardian charged. Jayla moved without thinking. White flame erupted from her hands. She didn't just throw the energy, she commanded it. It curved like light around her arms, struck the Guardian's chest and exploded in a burst of heat and wind. Jack blinked from the ground. Okay, that's new. The Guardian roared and leapt again, this time faster. Jayla blocked it with both hands. The bond between her and Jack flared suddenly. He felt the pressure too. It was like standing under a waterfall of fire. Jayla, he shouted, let it go. I can't, she replied, straining. If I break the bond now, it breaks me. Then she dropped her arms. Not in surrender, in trust. The flame didn't vanish. It shifted, moved. To Jack. For a second, his whole body went still. Then the light flowed through his chest, down his arms, into his hands. Didn't burn. It welcomed him. The bond had accepted him, not just as a passenger, but as a partner. Jack stood, his hands glowing, heart racing. Jayla stared. You're not just connected to me anymore. The Guardian stopped. Watched. Then knelt. Jack stepped forward. Did we just pass the test? Jayla nodded slowly. Yes, but not because we're strong. She looked at him with new eyes. Because we're together. Far away, in the royal capital, a message reached the High Council chamber. The scroll read only 5 words. The bond is fully awakened. The royal Aunt Lady Tarana read the message in silence. Then she stood. Send the purge ships. She said, burn the forest to the roots. Back in the clearing, Jack stared at his hands. The light was fading, but the feeling stayed. Jayla touched his shoulder. We don't have much time. If the council knows what we've become, they'll come for us, Jack finished. Jayla nodded. They won't just come, they'll bring war. Jack looked out at the horizon. No more running, no more hiding. We make a stand? He asked. Jayla smiled. No, she said, we start one. The sky over Veralia burned. Flames danced in the clouds. Warships blotted out the sun. Red beams of energy struck the forest, turning ancient trees into smoke and ash. Jack stood at the edge of the clearing, staring up at the chaos. They really sent an army, he whispered. Beside him, Jayla held her staff, now glowing white-hot with bonded energy. Her eyes, once violet, now burned silver. They're not just coming to kill us, she said. They're coming to erase the bond itself. Jack clenched his fists. Then we don't just survive. We fight. At the old Flame Root Shrine. Jack and Jayla had built more than a camp. They had built a signal. The Guardian had given them more than a test. It had given them history memories of the first bonded, long forgotten by the royal bloodlines. Jayla stood atop a stone platform, raising the crystal shard high. It pulsed. All across the forest. Forgotten shrines awoke. Scattered rebels, exiled, mystics, and silent watchers felt the bond's return and answered its call. By dusk, they were no longer alone. A ring of figures stepped out of the trees, some young, some old, some not even human, but all were glowing. Jack looked around. They came for you. Jayla shook her head. No, they came for us. As the purge ships descended, the forest lit up. Not in fear, in fire, but this fire didn't burn, it breathed. Jayla stepped forward, the staff humming in her hand. Jack followed her. They stood side by side at the center of the bond's birthplace, flames dancing. At their feet. Above them, Lady Tarina watched from her flagship. So, the child learned to stand, she said coldly. Then we'll crush her and her pet human. The battle began. Beams of red rained from the sky. Gila lifted her hands and turned them to light. Jack took a breath, stepped forward, and raised both arms. Together, their bond expanded, a white shield forming around the shrine. The first blast hit. The shield held more fire. More rage. The army kept coming, and Jack and Gila did not back down. Then, something happened. The bond stopped feeling like two people connected. It felt like one life. Wrapped in two bodies, Gila's thoughts flowed into Jack. His memories blended with hers. Pain faded. Fear melted. Together, they called out, not with voices but with the bond. The flame answered. It rose from the ground, from the trees, from the shrines. A wave of living light swept across the forest like a tidal wave. The purged ships stopped firing. Some fell from the sky. Some simply vanished. On the flagship, Lady Terrana screamed, "This is impossible." She activated her own weapon, a forbiddance relic that pulsed black. She launched it toward the shrine. But Jack stepped forward. His voice was calm. "We're done running." He caught the black energy in his hand and crushed it. The explosion reversed into light. Gila lifted her staff high. The forest roared, and the bond bright enough to blind the sky. When the light faded, the battle was over. No more ships. No more fire. Just silence and sunrise. Gila stood in the ash-covered clearing. Her clothes were torn. Her eyes still glowed. Jack stood beside her, tired but alive. "Are we free now?" he asked. Gila looked to the horizon. "No," she said, "but we're no longer bound by fear. We own the bond now." Jack smiled faintly. "So what now?" "Build a kingdom?" She looked at him, stepped closer. "No," she said softly. "We build a future." She took his hand. "For both our worlds." And as the sun rose over Veralia, the people whispered a new name for them. The Fire Bonded.